Volunteers, not hostages. One of the bars that Sacramento Kings general manager Scott Perry dropped during the summertime when he first took the job. And I understand what he's saying. But I think the Kings might have a hostage on their team right now. And I don't think he's going to make a fit about it or anything like that. Well,
it's not somebody we talked about before.
They probably have a few hostages, if we're being honest.
I know, because we had Demonis Sabonis conversation.
They have one that has been nothing but a professional, but I feel like if you were to ask him, he would much rather be somewhere else, and that is DeMar DeRozan. Last night, DeRozan was seen spiking a water bottle on the bench that caused like a whole cleanup crew to come out, and I can't lip sync. I have no idea if DeMar talked to him. I guarantee you DeMar was probably a little apologetic, like, hey, sorry you had to clean up that mess. It was just a moment of pure frustration. Jason Anderson, who covers the Sacramento Kings for the Sacramento Bee, he was in New Orleans covering this game, and he talked to DeRozan afterwards and said, DeRozan told him, quote, "A lot of stuff we do is self-inflicted. Us not being in the right spots, make it a chain reaction, them getting back in transition, getting easy shots, easy buckets. So the water bottle incident was just me wanting us to play the right way, win, lose, or draw." Mm-hmm. That speaks to someone who understands the growing pains, but doesn't want to feel them, or is tired of seeing them and tired of feeling them. Because, like, as DeMar, I'm sure, is very aware, there are a lot more of those coming because you have so many young guys that are playing and learning how to play the game the right way. But the self-inflicted wounds, that's been a problem all season long.
For sure.
I want to be very clear when we have this conversation about DeMar being a hostage. I'm not saying, because that's such a aggressive word, I'm not saying there's malicious intent from the Sacramento Kings. I'm not saying there is a desperation for DeMar DeRozan to force himself out. But we saw that report from Chris Mannix before the trade deadline about like a potential buyout possibility of DeMar DeRozan. Then we saw the report from Anthony Slater denying that. To me, that's DeMar's camp would like to be bought out if he's still here, versus the Sacramento Kings want to keep DeMar around because, one, he's an absolute pro. I mean, I've been told firsthand how much the young guys enjoy playing with him and learning from him, and he's been very helpful in that sense. And two, there's hope that he can be a trade piece with his only $10 million guaranteed for next season, that maybe they can move him this summer. But the question is just this, simply, Kayla. He's proved his professionalism. Does he really need to go through this? Like, now over 50 games in, does he really, like, is he going to teach the young guys really that much more between now and the end of the season than what he's gone through right now? And should the Sacramento Kings maybe even do the right thing by letting him go at this point in his career, sign somewhere else, and play meaningful basketball? I don't blame him for going like, I'm just wasting the final years of my career right now in Sacramento.
Yeah, it's been an interesting situation for a guy that's a consistent player, a great pro, like you said, has helped the youth here. I've been a huge supporter of DeMar DeRozan, and I think we're seeing right now, at least, a time that he's frustrated. Like, again, we're hitting the All-Star break. It's probably the last game has been the most frustrating game, but the last two have not been great.
Yeah, he didn't shoot well against the Cavs.
He did not, and I was looking at some of his stats, and like I can see, like, for a guy who's been fairly consistent this season and performed pretty well in games, he's not been good in the last two games. Versus the Cavs, he didn't shoot particularly well, 4 from 16 from the field. He had like 13 points. Last night, he played 20 minutes, just 8 points. He was 3 of 11 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. So, like, the frustration is showing also out on the hardwood. Mm-hmm. And I think, like, right now with that incident with the water bottle, I'm sure part of it was just, man, can we do things right? But I'm sure part of it is also like, what am I doing? Like, and he's going to have a chance now to reflect at the All-Star break of like, what is my goals for my future? I'm 6 years
36,
old.
Yeah.
And I've got to start figuring out, like, really, I can't just keep sitting here on a team that's not going anywhere and because they want me to stay around to help, develop some of their youth, like that's not what I want though. And I think it's not fair to keep a guy like that hostage.
From the YouTube chat line, Scooter916 says, I don't think DeMar expects perfection out of the young players yet. No, I don't think so either. Like, DeMar is an unbelievably smart guy. He knows what it is. He knows what's going on here. There's no fooling him, or there's no, putting lipstick on a pig with where the Sacramento Kings are at right now and where he fits in with where that's at. He and everybody in that building know exactly what the Sacramento Kings are trying to do. But what the spiked water bottle tells me is he still cares.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He still cares about, like,
everyday
I love
situations.
basketball.
Yeah.
I want his availability speaks to how much he just wants to play. There's no Darren Peterson concerns with DeMar DeRozan, and we'll talk about Darren Peterson later on in the show.
Thank goodness.
Because there's some red flags that are flying with Mr. Peterson, let me tell you. But DeMar loves the game. He's a very competitive individual. And he's sitting here going, I can't do this for much longer. And I'm sitting here in Sacramento for a team that is obviously not on my timeline, and that's okay, but I can't escape.
Yep.
I can't get out of here. I'm going to be a pro. I'm not going to pout. I'm not going to whine and complain to the young guys, or at least I haven't heard any instance of him whining and complaining. I'm sure behind closed doors to his friends and to his agent, he's like, what the hell am I still doing here? He's probably texting his buddies all around the league going, can I play with you? Like, this sucks. This is horrible. I'm trapped in basketball hell. Like, I think all of that can be true. That's just natural. That's just being a human. If you and I were in a bad situation, in a bad job, in a bad, you're at a party that you don't want to be at. You're at your in-laws gathering, and you're just like, get me out of here. So you just text someone like, this is awful. Like that's just being SOS. That's just being a human being. I don't think DeMar it's not about him hating Sacramento or hating what the Kings are doing. I just think DeMar sees the mortality, sees writing on the wall of what time he has left, and is frustrated, like I would be, that I am wasting my time here in Sacramento.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair. And I know that we've got somebody in the chat, Z. He says that it sucks that no one wants Debo. We tried to get him to another team. And you're right. I think that it is true. I think that, and Matt and I have said this for, all of the trade deadline, what was going on. Like, why doesn't a team see the value in DeMar DeRozan, at least as a guy that's going to come off the bench? And again, I don't think DeMar's out there being like, no, I wouldn't come off the bench. I don't see that being his attitude if he's going to a team that would compete and that has a chance to win a ring. And it is mind-boggling that he could not be traded at the deadline. And part of it, again, is they think the contract is still a little too big. But at some point, he's got to be freed from here, because it's not helping the Kings per se move on, and it's definitely not helping DeMar DeRozan in his career the last few years of what it is.
And look, like, the market can change. I think there should, and hopefully has been, a very serious conversation between DeMar's camp and Scott Perry of, what is the point of my client being here? Yeah. What are we doing? How confident do you feel that you're going to be able to trade him this summer? Because if you're not very confident, or you don't feel like the market's going to be any better, and if you end up waiving him or cutting him and paying that $10 million guarantee next season, whether you wait till, I think, January is the deadline to do it or not, now you've wasted even more of my client's time, and now my client is 37. Like, if the writing is on the wall that you're going to have to release him because he just doesn't have trade value around the league, release him.
Yeah.
Let him go. And I know he is a pro, and I know he is valuable to those young guys, but do right by him, release him, because I firmly believe that maybe there weren't teams lining up to trade something of value for him in a sense, financially, in a way that made sense. But if he was a free agent, I can think of, I'd be shocked if there weren't 3 playoff teams right now that would make him an offer in a heartbeat. On their terms for their money.
And Banta says, like, what team wants a 36 ISO ball player that dribbles and chucks up a shot? Believe me, there are teams in the playoffs that would benefit from having depth.
Off the bench bucket getter for 20 minutes.
If Orlando could get him at $5 million, they would do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't have him be your 3rd or 4th highest paid player doing what he is right now.
Yep.
Right.
Which, to your point about the waiving, I mean, they tried to trade him in the summer, no takers. Tried to trade him at the deadline, no takers. They're going to try and trade him in June. If there's no takers, they probably have to just go ahead and cut him unless they're going to hold out hope that somehow, some way, someone's going to take him at January right before the deadline hits. And I just feel like
What
no team is going to
changes?
make that deal.
He's going to be
But even so-
37 at that point. Like it doesn't.
And if a team takes him, they're not trading for him to pay the $10 million buyout. They're trading for him to guarantee the contract through the rest of the year and finish off that $24 million that he's owed. So again, if I'm DeMar, if I'm DeMar's camp, I'm going to Scott Perry and going, dude, we all see it. Like, teams aren't as interested in me as we thought maybe there would be. My paycheck is what it is. I think playing competitive basketball is more important than the money to DeMar DeRozan right now.
So again, with Banta, he says, but DeMar refuses to go to the bench. I think though it's not a choice if he goes to another team.
I don't think DeMar would refuse to come off the bench for a playoff team.
Right. I don't, maybe not here, but obviously you go to someplace else, you're sacrificing something.
And I haven't heard. I've been around the Kings organization, and I've been around every step of the way that DeMar's been here.
Yeah,
I have never
heard
once heard DeMar DeRozan threatening to throw a fit or be upset if he go. Would he be happy about it? Hell no. Of course he wouldn't. He's been starting his entire career. But is he gonna tank a team and be a distraction in the locker room? This man travels around the country and has written books on mental health. Like, this guy is a consummate professional who has an incredible story, an incredible background. Like, he's not going to throw a fit because the Cleveland Cavaliers won't start him if they were to bring him in, or team X, Y, and Z. So I think that's a lazy argument that people have made about DeMar that just I don't think is true. Apologies, we didn't go to the phone. Dwayne, I see you on the line. Hold tight until 12 o'clock, the lunch break segment. That's where we'll take some of your calls. Also at noon, we'll be giving away a pair of tickets to see the Kings take on the Orlando Magic on Thursday, February 19th, after the All-Star break.